What's up everybody, Chuck Bailey with the Bass Channel here, and today we're going to be checking out the JHS Amp Packs, the brand new ones. Let's go. So maybe some of you have been waiting for this, maybe some of you had no idea that this was even on the docket for JHS. JHS is cool like that, where they just randomly drop cool little funsy things and we're all like, oh, that's rad, I didn't know that was coming. Well, I think this falls in that category, but the internet never ceases to amaze me on how quick you are to prove people wrong. This JHS Amp Packs, it's pretty rad. There's a lot of packs, and they all kind of debuted at once in different groupings. We're gonna go through all of that, but right now I want to talk about a little bit of a broad kind of spectrum as far as where they came about, and then we're gonna narrow it down. From what I know, these are available for the Tone X, the Kemper, and the Helix Line 6 stuff. I think that's it. I don't think there's any more, but again, internet, prove me wrong. For our purposes, we are going to be using, out of those three, the Kemper. So here's the thing with the JHS Amp Packs, they're, on further investigation, right, monocle, they're primarily for guitar. There are some bass ones specific, but they're mostly for guitar. And that's okay, we're used to being in the back seat when it comes to gear priority as bass players. We don't need the limelight, but they didn't leave us high and dry, which is great. Little Radiohead plug there. We had some, and as opposed to going through little snippets of all the different bass ones there and kind of tweaking it, maybe we'll revisit that, right? But we chose to go a very specific route for something that we saw in the packs, and that's the Fender Bassman series that they offer in these amp packs. So it was kind of interesting, right? In all of our dealings and gear kind of associations, we realized, at least Chris realized, and then brought it to my attention, we've never really done any kind of focus on the Fender Bassman, which is, it's kind of crazy considering I feel like it's one of those kind of legacy kind of gear items, right? So we're gonna be focusing on that, and I figured while we're talking about that in normal kind of JHS pros, we're gonna kind of give you a little bit of history on the Bassman itself. So bear with me, watch some B-roll, enjoy. Originally designed back in the 50s as one of the very first dedicated bass amplifiers, the funny thing is, it became just as famous with guitar players as it did with basses. But today, we're going to do what Leo Fender actually intended. Plug a bass guitar into this vintage beast and hear what it sounds like. This amp was simple by design. 4 inputs, 2 channels, normal and bright, just a bass, middle, and treble with some presence controls. No graphic EQ, no fancy circuitry, just big 6L6 tubes driving a ton of warm, natural power. Right away, the Bassman has this kind of round and full-bodied low end. It's not super tight or modern, so don't expect surgical precision. But instead, you get this blooming bottom that almost feels alive. It's vintage warmth in its purest form. The Bassman has this growl, especially with flat wound strings, that just screams classic rock. Think of those early recordings where the bass doesn't fight for clarity, but instead glues the entire band together. That is definitely the Bassman sound. One of the reasons the Bassman sounds the way it does is because of the tubes. As you push the volume past halfway, you start to get that natural tube compression. The low end tightens up, harmonics bloom, and the amp almost plays along with you. It's less about hi-fi clarity and more about character. Compared to a modern amp, the Bassman definitely doesn't have as much headroom or even sub-bass extension. But what it gives you instead is this rich, organic tone that just sits in the mix perfectly. That's why players still hunt these amps down even to this day. So that brings us back to the JHS Amp Pack, right? So like I mentioned, these are still highly sought after. Now, it's kind of niche, right? There are presumably less and less players that are finding themselves drawn to that tone, but there are still quite a bit. And if you're not in the habit of scouring pawn shops or going through garage sales and what have you, you don't need to go far. For, I think it's $19 a pack, you can get the JHS Amp Pack with whichever ones you want. I believe, don't quote me, you can go to JHS's website or their socials, subscribe and get this information straight from the horse's mouth, for lack of a better term. I believe you can get all of the amp packs for less than $100. It's like $97 and you get all of them, something like that. It's pretty affordable. And again, in true JHS fashion, they're always thinking of the musicians first. We're all poor. So they make it very affordable, and they're still getting us like very high quality gear and instruments, and again, amp packs, modelers, all those things for an affordable price. And I think that's super important, especially now more than ever. So let me know what you thought. Did you like the Fender Bassman kind of options that we had and showcased in the video? Let us know in the comments what you liked about it, what you don't like about it. If you have it, let us know what you think about it too. It just came out fairly recently. We're a little behind, but not too much. I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for all of you subscribers. We appreciate you for all of you watching at home, boys, girls, and everyone in between. Thank you for your time and attention. We appreciate you guys. Until next time, this is Chuck Bailey with the Bass Channel, and we will see you later.